What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing Universal Studios. Now obviously I know I have not uploaded in basically a month, which month ago I uploaded the 100 subscriber special, which basically takes you through the 3 sunny days that I had to record, and it describes pretty much everything that I did in those 3 days at Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. However, today I'm going to be focusing on just Universal Studios. I will be focusing on Islands of Adventure in another video. And this video is intended for those who are asking, what can I expect when I go to Universal Studios? Or what are some things to look out for? Or in general, how do I get around? Then this video is for you. Now, hopefully I cover everything that is important. However, there was a lot to get through in just a small amount of time. So if I don't get through something, then you guys can go in the comments and ask me questions about that, and I can try to answer it. And with that being said, I'm going to get started right now. So basically, I'm going to take you guys through a walkthrough basically of Universal Studios, what is there to offer in each section of the park. Before we actually get into the park, I'm going to start off with what you would do at the beginning of the day, and that is driving there. Now, the traffic can be kind of tedious. I would recommend getting out there way earlier than you would usually do for going anywhere, because the highway over there can be backed up for a lot of time. After you actually get into the parking spaces, what you're going to do is you're going to walk through this walkway, and it's basically going to take you to this center building thing. This is where the security is, and it's basically like airport security. You put your bag inside the little thing, the conveyor belt thing, and it'll go through the X-ray, and then you take your bag, and then after that, you're gonna go through another walkthrough, and then after you go through that walkway, you're gonna end up in City Walk. Now, this is basically like Disney Springs, or some people call it Downtown Disney. There are some really good food places here, and there are some gift shops that are worth checking out here. One place I highly recommend going to is the Chocolate Emperor, which is on the other side of the lake over there. But it's a really good food place. They have some really good sweets. There's other places, obviously, food-wise around here too. That's basically City Walk. Now, it's probably not as big as Disney Springs, but regardless of how big it is, I would recommend checking it out if you have time. If you don't, then it's probably in your best interest to skip it. Now, what you're going to do is once you walk up a certain distance, you're going to take a right, which will take you through the rest of City Walk. And then you will end up at the Universal entrance, and you'll find yourself by the iconic spinning logo. Now that you're at the front, you're basically at the front entrance now. So you walk through those big arches, and you go through the entrance there. They have this face recognition thing now, so just keep that in mind as you're going through there. Now you're basically in the park. There are a lot of different pathways to go in the park. Now, I'm going to take you guys through one way to go through the park, but it's not just limited to that one way. You can go through many different ways in Universal. There's a lot of different ways to go. But anyway, when you walk through Universal Studios, you will first notice the Minion Mayhem, which is in the Minion area of the park. Now, this whole area is dedicated to Minions. One of the rides was home to a Shrek ride before, but that's been taken down. So now the whole area is dedicated to Minions, and on the left you'll find the Minion Mayhem ride, which is basically kind of like if you've played Minion Rush on your phone. It's kind of like that, except you're in this moving car thing. It's like one of those 4D ride type of things. It is actually a really fun ride, and I would recommend checking out because it is a really fun ride. Over on the right, you're going to find the Villain Con, which is kind of like, it's kind of creative actually. It's like a shooting ride. You use lasers and you shoot the villains, and you kind of move around on this moving platform thing. That is also kind of interesting. I would check that out as well because that was actually kind of fun. The further you walk up into the Minion area, you're going to find the Illumination Theater, which is down on the right side. I haven't gone in there, but you would probably already know what happens in there. Just a bunch of the Illumination characters. And then you walk through the center of the Minion thing, and you would see the Bank of Evil, the Minion Cafe, and those type of places. Now, the Minion Cafe, I've had food there before. The Minion Cafe, it is very good. I would recommend checking out. They have some very interesting meals there. And then that Swiss roll is just iconic. So I would recommend checking out the Minion Cafe because it's just really, really good. Now that basically finishes you up at the Minion Land, and now you'll find yourself walking through the rest of Production Central, which is where Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit is. And let me tell you something about Hollywood Rip Ride Rockit. It is kind of rough, I'm going to be honest with you. It's obviously not your ideal roller coaster, and it's there more so for the looks. Now, is it a bad coaster? No, but is it particularly good? Probably not. I would say it's pretty average. It's kind of rough, and honestly, if you're gonna rank it among other roller coasters, it wouldn't be very good. So, but Universal not having a lot of roller coasters, this is probably one of their most popular roller coasters, regardless of how good it is. You will also find the Transformers ride in this area as well. The Transformers ride, let me tell you, it is good. However, it is really unreliable, and I have heard many instances of it breaking down while you're on the ride, and we dealt with that too. The screen in front of us froze. It was kind of funny, but it has a lot of maintenance reliability issues. So if you're looking for a ride that won't break down, this is probably not it for you. That will conclude the Production Central area. Now, if you keep walking straight, you will find yourself in the New York area, which is where the Rockefeller Plaza replica is. In that building over there, you will find the Race Through New York ride starring Jimmy Fallon. It is a really funny ride, actually. Not necessarily really, really good like some of the other ones here, but it's really, really funny. And I would go on it because it's just really funny. And then there's also Central Park over there as well. Central Park, I didn't really go into the Central Park thing over there. However, I've been to the real Central Park already, so this is a downgrade. Central Park is just a bunch of greenery, and it looks kind of nice over there. There was a food stand over there, but that's about it for that Central Park. And then also, if you turn to the right and walk straight through that path, you will find on your left Revenge of the Mummy. I'm going to tell you this, Revenge of the Mummy, it gets a really long wait time, but let me tell you something, it is worth the wait. It is actually a really good ride. It does look to be a little older, but it is a really good ride. It's easily one of the best in the park. It is worth the wait. So I would definitely check out Revenge of the Mummy. And they have those walking characters on stilts, so that's kind of cool too. And then after Revenge of the Mummy, you kind of walk through some more buildings. There's a lot of food in the New York area, and there's just a lot of interesting architecture type things to look at. There's even an alleyway, which is kind of representing real alleyways in New York City. So that's just kind of interesting. There's a lot of things to look at. They have a blues performance thing, and it's just really interesting to walk through the New York area. So that basically concludes the New York area, which is one of the nicer looking areas in the park. Now, after you finish up in the New York area, you're going to find yourself in the San Francisco area, which is where the Fast and Furious ride is. And let me tell you this, the Fast and Furious ride, while it is probably good, it's not worth a long wait. And the thing is, in my opinion, it's kind of meh. Obviously, it kind of depends on what your favorite type of rides are. I don't find it all that special. I honestly wouldn't mind if they take it out and put something else in. It just feels like it doesn't feel like it was a super good ride by any means. If you like Fast and Furious, you're probably into the ride, but I don't watch Fast and Furious, so therefore I'm not really into the ride at all. So then after the Fast and Furious ride, you're gonna find more buildings and food, kind of like the New York area. However, it looks like San Francisco, and let me tell you something, it looks really, really cool. It looks like San Francisco, if you look at pictures of San Francisco. It looks really good. There was a really good looking burger place that we didn't have, but it looks really good regardless. And then the architecture obviously is just interesting to look at. So after you walk through that area, you're going to find yourself in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is my personal favorite section. They did an incredible job on it, period. Now, this area you walk into is obviously the Muggle side of things. It is London. Now, the first thing you will notice on your left is the King's Cross Station. And within King's Cross Station is the Hogwarts Express, which is is the train you can take to Islands of Adventure and go to Hogsmeade. And let me tell you something, that train is really super cool. It is probably one of the best trains I've ever been on, period. Now, you would expect just a regular train, but no, it's not a regular train. It is a really, really cool train ride, and I would recommend checking it out. The attention to detail is just great. It's just really cool. So after you pass King's Cross Station, you will find the telephone booth. Now, I'm not going to reveal too much here, but if you know what to do, you know what to do. There's instructions on the inside of the telephone booth, um, but it's cool what happens in there. And then on the right, you will find the tall bus from Prison of Azkaban. Kind of cool to look at. They have the talking assistant. They have the bus driver there as well. And then there's a fountain there. And so now you walk straight and you find 12 Grimwald Place, which is where the Order of the Phoenix is headquartered in the movies and in the books. If you knock on the door there, you'll see a guy, a little character, kind of peek out the window there. That's kind of cool. And you can tell which one is 12 by simply looking at the color of the building. 12 Grimwald Place is darker than all the other parts of the building. So now if you actually walk through the brick by King's Cross Station, you will find yourself inside of Diagon Alley. And let me tell you something, Diagon Alley is just insane. It is easily the best part of Universal Studios. They did a really, really nice job with it. The attention to detail is just insane. Now, this is home to a lot of the stuff you would see in the movie, including Ollivander's wand shop, the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Then there's a Quidditch supply shop. There's a whole lot more shops to look at other than those two I named. Not all of them you can go inside of, but there's a lot of shops. When you walk straight through Diagon Alley, you will find Gringotts, which is behind me in the background. Gringotts, obviously in the movie, looks just pretty much just like how it is here. Inside is really, really cool because it looks just like the bank. They have the goblins and everything. It is really, really cool. The attention to detail, again, is insane. The ride itself is really awesome. The characters interacting with each other. It's really, really cool. And I would recommend checking it out. It is just incredible. And then outside of Gringotts, you will also find Nocturne Alley, which is obviously the dark side of Diagon Alley. And in here, it's also kind of cool. Now in Diagon Alley, you can buy wands and you can do spells. And that is really, really cool. You can go pretty much anywhere in Diagon Alley and you will find a spell. Now, I'm not gonna reveal exactly where or how to do the spells. But it's really, really cool. You can do the spells with wands you buy. You can get your name engraved on the wands, which is really, really cool. And overall, the magic part of things is really, really cool. And if you want to buy a wand, I would buy a wand because that makes it really, really special. There was one more thing to talk about in Diagon Alley, and I can't not mention it, and that is the butterbeer. Now, the butterbeer is perfect, period. The butterbeer is really, really, really good. The butterbeer is so good. Like, I can't even describe it any better. It's just really, really good. Now, they sell different types. They sell hot, they sell warm, they sell cold. It's just really, really, really good. And I would highly, 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 highly recommend that you buy at least a little bit and try it because it's probably the best drink you'll ever have, period. And that will pretty much do it for Diagon Alley, which, again, it is crazy. It is great. It is the best section in Universal, period. But now moving out of Diagon Alley in London, in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you will find yourself walking across this bridge. Then on the left, you will find the section of World Expo, which is only one ride in World Expo at the moment, and that is the Men in Black ride. I will be honest with you. I was not very fond of the Men in Black ride. Some people may like it because it's kind of like shooting lasers at targets. But honestly, I didn't find it all that great. It does look to be a little older, and the theming in the queue is actually pretty good, but the ride itself, I just find to be kind of meh. So if there's a long line for this ride, I would not wait in that long ride. I would sooner do something else. After you finish there, you will find yourself in Springfield, USA, which is home of The Simpsons. And let me say something, the Simpsons area, I think, is put together very well. It is the second or third best area in the park, if you ask me. It is put together very well. They have the Simpsons ride, which is great. And then walking through there, you also have the Quickie Mart, Moe's, Krusty Burger, Duff's, Lard Lad Donuts, and then you also have Bumblebee Man's Tacos, which I did not have, but it also looks really interesting. So the food in the Simpsons area is definitely very good. I got the big donut from Lard Lads, the Big Pink. It was delicious. So I would recommend buying at least a donut, if not something else, from the Simpsons area, because the Simpsons area has some very good food. And they even got like the Lard Lad sign. They got the officer by his car, and they occasionally rings the siren, and they play some of that cool music too. So that is a really cool area. And then you'll walk past the DeLorean from the Back to the Future. Now, this is not the DeLorean from Back to the Future, but this is a DeLorean. DeLoreans are always cool to look at, and I thought I would include it here, just simply because you walk by it. After you walk past there, and you kind of keep going straight, you find yourself in Woody Woodpecker's Kid Zone. Now, there's only one ride here that we did, and that was the E.T. ride. Now, let me tell you something. The E.T. ride, I did not find it all that great. If you're a fan of E.T. and the nostalgia and all that, then you'll find this ride great. It's obviously a very old ride. It was there pretty much when the park opened, so it's basically the same as it was in the 90s, whenever it was built. I think it deserves more credit than people give it, because for being here this long, it still holds up to be decently well maintained. And yeah, I would describe the rest of the Woodpeckers Kid Zone area. However, it was walled off. It looks like they're doing some sort of revamp or renovation or something, so there's nothing I can do about that. So after the Woodpecker Kid Zone, and you kind of walk the other way, you will find the Hollywood area, which is the final section in Universal. There's a 50s diner, there's the horror makeup show across the street, which is actually a good show, and I recommend watching it. When you walk through the area more, it's just more so there for the looks and the architecture. It looks like Hollywood, as the name suggests. And then you will find yourself by this building where the Jason Bourne Spectacular is. That is a good show too. Highly recommend checking that out. There's some really good shows in the Hollywood area in general. The parade route for the Mardi Gras also goes through there as well. I recommend just walking around and looking at it if you don't do much there. It looks pretty good. And then you're back at the front at the Minion Land. So that pretty much concludes kind of your preview of the park. Still a few things to cover, however, and that one of those things is the Express Pass. Now, the Express Pass in Universal is just like the Fast Lane you would find at a Cedar Fair park, or like the Flash Pass you would find at a Six Flags park. It gets you through the lines faster. I cannot tell you the price at this point because we didn't buy it, but they do offer it, and the lines can be really, really long sometimes, so it is definitely worth considering buying it. Another important thing to make note of would be the lockers at Universal, because the locker system at Universal is different than a lot of the locker systems that exist in theme parks and amusement parks. So in Universal, there are free lockers and there are paid lockers. Now, the free lockers, the amount of time that you get for the free lockers takes into account the standby line wait time, the actual time of the ride, and 15 minutes cushion afterwards. So let's say there is a 20-minute wait for Revenge of the Mummy. That would be 20 minutes, plus let's say Revenge of the Mummy is 2 minutes, so that'd be 22 minutes. And then they would add a 15-minute cushion, so that'd be 37 minutes you have for your locker. That's just for example, that may not actually happen, but that is basically how the free lockers work. Now, the paid lockers, they work the same way, except to $2 up front, and they're bigger. Both the free and paid lockers have a $3 fee for every 30 minutes over, and then there's a $20 maximum for the day for the lockers. There are two other types of lockers. There are family lockers and there are large lockers. Those lockers you're going to find at the front of the park, and those lockers are significantly larger than the two lockers I just mentioned earlier. The large lockers are $12 per day, and family lockers are $15 per day. Those lockers you can open an unlimited amount of times. The paid lockers and the free lockers you can only open one time. When you open those lockers, your rental is over, and that is your run down the locker system. Now, I highly recommend checking out articles online on more specific things about the locker system, because it can be kind of confusing sometimes. I did talk about a little bit of food. Again, there was a lot of variety of food at Universal. You will not miss any food stands because they are all around you all the time. There's a lot of selection. Now, there are a good amount of places that do mobile ordering, so to do the mobile ordering, you're going to need the app and you're going to need to put your card on there and all that stuff. Just keep that in mind when you're looking for a place to eat. The other thing is the drinks. There are different ways you can go with this. You can buy a regular drink and just have it and buy it again. But there was one thing that we did when we were there, and that was buy Purple Freestyle cups. They are $20 for one, $36 for two, and then they are $16 for 3 to 6 for each cup. So there is definitely some things to consider when buying them price-wise. But once you buy them, it's just a $13 activation fee to activate them each day. That does not include the day that you actually buy the cups. It is $12 to activate the cups each day if you're a pass holder. So it's like discount on that part. Honestly, we didn't use them that much because when we went, it was cooler. But in the summer months, highly recommend doing that because you will have free refills the whole day and you will spend less money per day on drinks doing that than if you were to buy a regular drink. That takes care of the food and drink and all that type of stuff. Now, other stuff to kind of think about, obviously, when you go into any theme park, number one, it's the weather. The weather at Universal, when we went, it was rainy half the time and it was sunny half the time. And when it was rainy, it would not stop raining. So I would highly recommend bringing ponchos, even if it looks like it isn't going to rain, because it could rain at any point, and just brace yourself for that. You can't plan for the weather, so you kind of have to get lucky, like if you were to go to any other theme park. And then the crowd levels, let me tell you something about the crowd levels. It can get really crowded, especially on the holidays. Universal can get really crowded, and I would highly recommend getting there early, like I said earlier. In the sections like the Wizarding World or Harry Potter, it can be really hard to walk around in those skinny pathways with a lot of people. So be mindful of that and get there early. Try not to get lost because it can be kind of chaotic sometimes with the crowds. Now, the other thing to think about with planning is the money. I would highly recommend bringing cash with you. They do take cash, they do take card. You can bring either. Can't bring card, bring some cash, just as a precaution. You never know what you could spend your money on. Just have plenty of money for the day. And then the parks are clean. The parks are actually really clean, so you don't have to worry about it being dirty or anything like that. They take really good care of the Universal parks in general. So the parks are clean. That is basically my rundown of Universal Studios. Now, I probably didn't cover every single thing in this video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I can try to answer them for you. Next video, I will be doing the Islands of Adventure side and doing basically the same thing I did here, walking you through the park and what to expect. That's basically gonna do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found the video useful. Overall, Universal Studios is a great place to go. I would highly recommend checking it out. It is a great place to go, and I was very satisfied with my stay there, regardless of the bad weather that occurred half the time that I was there. That's all I got. See you guys on the next video, and yeah.